So I think these are very, very cool bikes, these. This is a 1964 Yamaha YG1. The YG1 was an 80cc two-stroke trail bike, so they were also called Yamaha 80 Trailmaster. It's a rotary valve, so the carb is on the side of the engine basically, and it's a rotary valve direct into the crankcase, so rather than being an inlet manifold off the back of the barrel going into the crankcase, it's direct in from the side. And the rotary valves were supposed to be a lot better, or you could get a lot more performance out of them than the intake direct into the back of the barrel. So it was a pretty cool thing really. So 80cc trail bike. These developed a little bit later on, a few years later. I've just had actually 200cc, two of 100cc trailmasters, and they had a bit like the Honda postie bikes. They had two sprockets on the back, so when you were going on and off road, you would add some links into the chain and swap the sprocket over and this, that and the other. This one doesn't, it's just got a single sprocket. It's just one ratio of gearbox, if you like, 4-speed gearbox. And these were like the start of the two-stroke trail bike enduro bikes, and dedicated for that purpose. Now, I'm not sure, I have a feeling that this one and the 100cc ones that I had were post office bikes, because all the three had come from one guy and they were all black and yellow, which would have been the post office colours. So I'm not sure whether these would have been used for delivering mail or not, but I'm telling myself that they are. Now, I bit disappointed with this one, to be honest, because I was thinking, I've had them before, this is the nicest one I've had, and I was thinking I would get it running and maybe even have a ride on it. I always have this idea. All of the bikes I get in, I just think I'm going to ride them all, and it doesn't always work out for me. So anyway, I knew that the clutch was slipping. You push down on the kickstart and it doesn't turn the engine over. The kickstart moves, but it doesn't turn the engine over. So anyway, so did a little bit of work, took the plug out, kicked it over, and it does turn over then. So when there's less compression, when there's less resistance, so where there's no compression in the barrel, then it does turn over. As soon as you put the plug in, it doesn't turn over. I've took the oil filler cap out, and you can see that when you kick in the kickstart, it's not spinning the clutch. So the clutch is slipping, and for me, starting to take the side of the engine off and separating the plates and all of this, that and the other is not really where I'm at with some of these bikes. It's not for me to be fixing that thing. So I'm going to be selling this bike as is. It's not running. It does have spark, it does have compression, the clutch is slipping, and it goes through the gears. So in the next section of the video, I will try and demonstrate the fact that it does turn over. I've got the plug out. You probably can't see that from there. I've got the plug out, and it's turning over. I'll show you it's sparking, and we'll do a couple of other little bits and pieces, gearbox test as I always do, and have a look at the overall general condition. So I mean, the bike is very complete. There are obviously things, the chrome's gone through on the tank. The tank's rusty inside, so it'll need that sorting out. Lots of bits need re-chroming, like the exhaust and things like that. But the bike is very complete and would make a fantastic restoration project. When I've had these before, lots and lots of the bits are missing. So they must almost go through like our field bike stage. So they've been ridden, they've not been working right, people keep riding them and botching them up and this, that and the other. This doesn't look as though as what's happened with this one. This looks as though it's been sat, maybe some damp, you know, in a barn or something like that, and there's been some damp in there and the chrome's gone through and it's just literally just sat there. It's got 5,096 miles on the clock. I suspect that they're genuine. You can see there's not a lot of wear on the engine cases. All the paint's, you know, in generally good condition, and it looks like a genuine, honest bike, like a barn find, if you like, which is obviously what we're all looking for. So yeah, so we'll do a couple of bits and pieces looking around the bike, and we'll get some pictures and stick her up for sale. So I've just been talking about it turning over, and that's one thing I didn't say. So when you look in here, you won't be able to see this on the camera, I'm sure, but when you look in here, you can see the clutch turning over, and what I can see below the clutch is oil. So it's got oil in it, and I stuck the end of a screwdriver in and pulled it out, and the oil was clean. So it's not as though it needs an oil change. It needs the side of the engine taking off, the clutch cover taking off, and a little bit of work doing on the clutch. So yeah, so push down on the kickstart, it turns over, and hopefully, see this, but that is sparking. So because it's sparking, that means it's turning the crank, which means the piston must be going up and down. I mean, you can kind of hear it. You can hear like a little pop as the piston goes up and down. So that's it. You know, there must be enough compression that it's preventing, that it's making the clutch slip. So it's probably got enough compression to run. But when we look around the bike, like I say, the chrome on the rear rim is gone, and the brake arm, the exhaust, this, that and the other. But the paintwork is nice. The rear light is intact. I would say that that is going to be the original seat cover. It's got the, I mean, these things are always missing, and it's got the original catch. So we go in here. So these things wouldn't have had an oil tank, they'd have been pre-mixed. The carburettor's down in here, in this section here. But it's not, you know, sometimes when you've got things down there, it's an oil pump. It's not, it's the carburettor, and it's because it's on the rotary valve system. So we undo this. This is always nice to see. It's obviously on a long thread, this, isn't it? Just there. That comes off, and we have original. I mean, it's broken, but it is nice to see that it is original, and the original Yamaha toolkit with the original Yamaha tools, probably not been used very much, I would say. Let's stick that back in there. That is a lovely, lovely thing to see. I mean, Yamaha is kind of moulded into that toolkit, so that's nice. The original air cleaner, air box, which is nice. I haven't taken that out. I wasn't at a point where I wanted to remove the air filter. There's the tank, and the tank on the inside is rusty. If you remind me, if you buy this bike, if you remind me, I'll throw in a tub of X-Rust 7 for you to clean the rust out of that. You're going to need the tank re-chroming, bits and pieces need re-chroming, the headlight bezel needs re-chroming, these bolts here would need re-chroming. I mean, the front rim, again, I mean, that's going to need re-chroming as well, but it's all straight and it's all in fantastic condition. These Yamaha badges are normally missing, that's intact. Lovely lovely condition, ready for restoration. There's the clock showing 5,096 miles. I bet that that is correct. Clutch lever, choke lever, choke cable had just come out there. The front brake lever is missing. But yeah, it's looking very, very, very good and perfect restoration candidate. So here's the key. So again, original Yamaha key. It's probably the, well, it will be the key that the bike came with. And again, these side panels are normally missing. We go in here. I've had a look in here already and I know what I'm expecting. Don't get too excited. So, there's the wiring. All the wiring looks good, which is nice. It doesn't look as though there's been anyone messing with that as such. It's obviously had the battery the battery clip has perished, so someone's put a cable tie on it. They've obviously put a new battery on at some point. So this is the bit not to get excited about. Don't expect that battery to work. I would suspect that battery just needs to be replaced with a new one to get your electrics going. But because the whole of the wiring is there and and it doesn't look as though it's been messed about with, I reckon, with a battery. And once you've got the bike running and everything, which again is going to be a case of the clutch freeing up, and then it's probably got a very good chance of running with a carb clean. And then I would suspect that the electrics will be a simple thing. They'll probably just work straight out the box, I would say. I can't guarantee that, obviously, but yeah, it's a lovely bike, lovely condition bike. I mean, the last one I had was an absolute and utter mess, but I loved it, and I really wanted to do something with it. And this one, I was thinking, oh, it's going to run, and I'll be riding around on it, but unfortunately, no. Anyway, my loss is your gain, and whoever buys this is going to be massively happy, I'm sure. And they've got a lovely project, and they'll be able to make a beautiful showpiece out of this, or a lovely bike to ride. It comes with the original American title, which shows it as a 1964 bike, and it comes with the Nova certificate, so it'll be easy to register. It doesn't need an MOT, it's free tax. You fill in the DVLA V55 form, and away you go. So there we go, there we have it, 1964 Yamaha YG1, which is an 80cc 2-stroke trailmaster. Very cool thing, and would be even cooler if it was running. I'm a naughty boy, I forgot to do the gearbox check. So it's in neutral at the minute. Down into first. It's not turning the engine over, so it's a bit of a pain because it's got the slipping clutch. Second, third, and fourth. Fourth, third, second, and back into neutral, back into first, sorry, and back into neutral. As though you can't tell a massive amount of difference when it's in flipping gear, because obviously the clutch is slipping, so it's yeah, it's difficult, but it's got its 4 gears. They're all selecting fine. Obviously there's no guarantees until you actually run it and stick it in gear and go through the gearbox and stuff, but the gears are there, so that's a big plus point. Last couple of days I've been doing these flipping videos outside. There's none of that going on today, is there? Look at it, it's flipping horrendous. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just search Phoenix Motos.